Hello and welcome to episode 1 of DataCube's free online training course. In this first episode, we're talking about the basics of Power BI, how to get it, how to download it, how to connect up to data, and how to build your very first visual. Your host for the day is me, Matt Dent. Hope you enjoy. So, what is Power BI? Power BI is a business intelligence tool from Microsoft. It is a tool that links up with your data for the creation of analysis and insight. It allows you to analyze your own data without having to have the combined and advanced skill set of a seasoned data analyst and a data engineer. It is a tool to help you make the right business decisions with your data. Before we go any further, I'd just like to touch on the main limitation that Power BI has for its users. Power BI is only available for Microsoft users using Windows. For those of you that use Mac operating systems or Linux operating systems or any other non-Windows operating systems, there's not a straightforward download. So unless you can set up a virtual machine or a remote desktop that has a Windows operating system that you can download Power BI onto, it's going to be a big limitation. There are a whole host of business intelligence tools out there, so why are we starting with Power BI? Well, from my experience, Power BI is one of the easiest tools for beginners to pick up and start interacting with data quickly. It is easy to download, which is where we're going shortly with this video. It is easy to connect to a data source, so whether your data is a simple Excel file, a CSV, or whether you have a data warehouse sitting on a server locally or up in the cloud, or maybe you want to tap straight into an online data source, Power BI has an extensive library of data connections to make this simple. Potentially, and most importantly for you, it is easy to build up some simple analysis with your data and help you understand your data better. Another advantage of Power BI is that it is cheap. You can download the desktop application for free and get cracking with data analysis in a matter of minutes. There are other different licenses, such as these, the Power BI Pro and the Power BI Premium, which have a whole host of additional features, mainly catered toward being able to share your insight online. But we'll get to those later in a different episode. So for this episode, let's concentrate on getting our hands on Power BI. Firstly, I'm going to open up my internet browser. Here I'm using Google Chrome. Firstly, let's search for Power BI, spelled correctly. Desktop, download. The first link pops up here, which is Microsoft Power BI Downloads. Click on that link. Here we're given a few options. For example, Power BI Desktop, Power BI Mobile, Microsoft On-Premises Data Gateways, the Report Builder, or on-premises reporting with Power BI Report Server. Let's focus on this first option here, Microsoft Power BI Desktop. Click Download. This will open this pop-up asking you to open up the Microsoft Store. Click Open Microsoft Store. That will open a separate window, which I'll pull up here. And where mine says Launch, yours will have a download option. This will usually take a few minutes to download. When it is finished, click on the download area, which will normally pop up on a bar, and allow the installer to run through. You can click on the tick box on the final setup page to launch Power BI. Here's Power BI. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to load up, and when it starts it says initializing model. And here we have it. This is what you see when you first open Microsoft Power BI. Get data, recent sources, these are files that I've worked on before. Great, so now we have Power BI. Why don't we have a little play around, get some data and make our first chart. First, what we want to do is press get data. That brings up a box that should look just like this. Now, I've made a little dummy data set just for this video, which is me posing as a grocery store owner, where I have my food sales for one day. So I know I've got this data held in a CSV file, so I'm going to press CSV and connect. Now that brings up another pop-up box, which is my file explorer, and here is my text CSV file called grocery shop, which is sitting on my desktop. So if I press open to that, now Power BI is connecting to my data source and gives me a little demo here of what my data looks like. So here I've got date, which is all the 1st of January of this year, which shows that all the sales that I made on this day. It's broken down by product, and for each product there are the number of sales and the value that brought in. So I'm going to load that data. Now you'll then get a load query pop up, which is Power BI processing that data that you have. Once that's loaded, you will have your Power BI desktop main view, which looks just like this. Now you'll see on the right there is a field section, and under that I can see here I have my grocery shop table, and within that my 4 columns: date, product, sales and value. So first what I'd like to do is just have a look at my different products. So Win Power BI is very much a drag and drop product. So I want to look, as my grocery owner, to look at my different products. So I'm going to drag this column into the values field here. Now Power BI will think about that, and then it will have a look and present me with my different products. Now this has automatically created this into what Power BI calls a table. Now any of these visualizations you can move around by just dragging and clicking on the border of any of the visuals. So, and the same with sort of expanding that or making it smaller. So first I'm going to want to see all my products, so I'm making this bigger. And I'd like to know how many sales I made for each of those products. So I'm going to drag in products to this value underneath product. And here I can see aubergine 100, beetroot 40, but I'd quite like to visualize this not as a table but maybe as a bar chart. So now that I've got this table selected, you can see that's unselected and that's selected. I'm going to go over to this visualization pane, and here are your sort of standard visuals that Power BI allows you to visualize by. So I'm going to choose a bar chart, and now you can see that it's split my different products along the bottom by how many sales, and it shows me a bar for each product. Now it's automatically sorted this data by the most sales split by product on the left, but you can change that if you like. So there's 3 dots that Power BI has here are the more options. So you click on that, and at the bottom you can sort by any of the fields that you're using for this visualization. So maybe you'd rather sort by product, and I want to have that in an ascending order. So now my products are in alphabetical order. What I think I'd like to do is have it sorted by sales and ascending order, so I can see my spinach and my aubergine are the top sellers on that day, and my potatoes and tomatoes were the lowest sellers. What I'm struggling with at the moment to see, no matter how big I make this visual, now it's half the screen, is that I still can't really read my products very well. So in the visualization pane, the second feature we have here is format. So if I click on format, it gives me all the options I have to be able to format this visualization, broken down into different categories. So to start the formatting process with the x-axis, so I'm going to click on that, and my problem was I couldn't read the text properly, so I'm going to bump that size up a bit, maybe text size 12. I also know that these are my products, so maybe I don't want that title on. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I can see the title for that axis is on, so I'm going to turn that off, and it gives me a bit more space around the chart. maybe the other thing I'd like to do is do the same size to the y-axis. So if I scroll down here, I can bump that text size also up to text size 12, and it allows me to read those numbers a bit better. The other thing I don't like is the colour of that chart. I think it's a bit bright, so maybe I'm just going to go to data colours, change the default colour to a slightly lighter blue. Now I'm happy with that, so what I'm going to do is copy this chart. You can copy and paste charts to keep the formatting and exactly what you've made already. So I'm going to Control C, click on my empty space and press Control V to paste that in. Now it's gone on top of the other one, so I can just drag that over to the right here to have them side by side. Now for this second chart, instead of splitting these products by sales, I want to know the value that they created. So I'm going to untick sales here and throw value into value. Now here we go with our products which split by the value, so monetary, but it's formatted the axes differently or sorted it differently. So I want to sort that ascending, and now we can see that spinach made the most money in that day, potato the least. Now I want to differentiate these charts, product and value, sales and value, so I'm going to colour them differently. So I'm going to go back to my format roller, I'm going to data colours, change that data colour to maybe a slightly darker blue. Now the last thing I want to do is I know value is a monetary object, so I'd quite like to have my currency value. So I'm going to click on value, and the toolbar has now an additional toolbar feature which is called column tools. You can see the format of the value field, which is still highlighted in grey, is on general, so I'd like to change that to currency. Now Microsoft being American, this is preset now to dollars, so if I click where the dollar sign is, the little arrow, I can change that to English pound currency. And you can see that's updated that in the chart. Now that will have updated that value field, so whenever you use that field it will be as a pound currency. Okay, so I'm happy with this as my first go in Power BI. So I'm going to save that file. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I want to save this on my desktop as grocery shop, and it will save it. Let's call it grocery shop PBI, Power BI. Save that. And that wraps up our first episode of the Data Cubed free online training course. I hope you found that first session of our free online training course really useful. If you did, give the video a like on YouTube, and please subscribe to the channel to keep in the know when the next episodes of the training course come out.